Hi guys, it's Lara. Welcome back to my channel. Ooh. Anyways, so today it's not, please focus, thank you. It's not gonna be a vlog. I know that I'm starting this out as a vlog, but I don't know where my tripod is, and I wanna film this before I forget to, because I feel like I'm gonna forget to. So today I'm gonna be showing you guys my book collection. Pretty small, because I feel like when people talk about their book collections, it's like really big. But these are the books that I've read minus 2 books. I haven't read them yet, but I'm about to. Oh, 3 books. 3 books I haven't read. So we're gonna introduce you to my books and kind of talk about my journey as a reader, because I used to not be a reader, and now I'm like a hardcore. I read anytime I have the chance. So I'm gonna go find my tripod and I'm gonna walk you through my book collection that I have just right here on my wall. Hopefully it's straight. Okay, so here's my books. I'm just gonna really quickly name all of the books here and their authors. So we have Wonder by R.J. Palacio. That's what it is. It's very good. Definitely made me cry. This is called Augie and Me, which is also by R.J. Palacio. Then we have the Red Pyramid series, which includes Red Pyramid, Throne of Fire, and The Serpent's Shadow, and these are all by Rick Riordan. I think that's how you say his name. He wrote the Percy Jackson, I believe. Anyways, so yeah, that's the series, these 2 right here. And then we have Paper Towns by John Green, very popular book. Pretty sure there's a movie. Yeah, there's a movie for this one as well. I have the one that, would I even be a teenage reader if I haven't read Fault in Our Stars? No, I would not. This is Fault in Our Stars by, again, John Green. I'm sure you guys have seen the movie. Again, made me cry. Then we get into the Grishaverse, which is all of these books except for these 3. So we have the Six of Crows duology, which is this book, Six of Crows, and Crooked Kingdom. I'm gonna show you guys them more like close up, and I'll actually show you all the books once I'm done. I just want to get through this really quickly. And then we have Shadow and Bone, Seed of Storm, Ruin Rising, which are the first 3 books in the Grishaverse. All of these are by Leigh Bardugo. And then we have the Hunger Games series. This book is kind of, again, destroyed because everybody in my family has read it. But all 3 of these are written by Suzanne Collins. So then we have the King of Scars duology. Again, this is back in the Grishaverse, and I finished this one today. But these are, again, in the Grishaverse by Leigh Bardugo. So, yeah, those are all the books. Okay, so let's talk about the progression of my love for reading. I read these 2 in 6th and 7th grade, I believe. So, a quick minute ago, 4 or 5 years ago, holy crap. Yeah, I read these 4 or 5 years ago. Honestly, I don't really remember anything about this one. I remember a tiny bit about this one, but again, like, didn't stand out to me. I wasn't really a reader. I read this one out of obligation because I had to read a book for school. And I read this one because my mom was like, just finish the series. And I was like, okay. And so then I read it really quickly just to get through it. But again, I wasn't reading for fun. I was reading to get through them. Neither of those books really sparked anything in me. They're very good books as I remember. Then Red Pyramid, I read this in 7th grade, I believe, because my mom was like, oh my gosh, you have to read this book series. Everybody in the family has loved it, so you'll definitely love it too. And I loved it. It's so good. This is what the cover looks like. Again, my entire family has read this, so it's a little jacked up. And then we have Throne of Fire, which is the next book in the series, and I read the beginning of this, I think, 3 times. Not joking. Yeah, I read the beginning of this book a solid 3 times, and I would get to about the 3rd chapter. I would read the first 2 chapters, and then either I would get distracted, I would get bored, or I just didn't want to read it, so then I stopped. So I finished reading this at the end of my freshman year, because I had to like finish out the year reading a book, and I was like, okay, I've already read the first 2 chapters of this like way too many times, so might as well finish it. So I read this, and then again I got out of reading. Then I got to my freshman year and I had to read some books in the like teen realistic fiction, because that's what my English teacher liked, and so he recommended that I read something like that. And so I read Paper Towns first, and I didn't like the ending because, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. So then I was like, ugh, I don't want to read anymore because I don't want to experience anything like that again. But I had to because English. So then again for English class, I had to read another book, so I decided to read Fault in Our Stars after that, and I cried in class. So that was really embarrassing. So again, I was like, so no more reading for me. I finished these two, and I think I read another book, but not too sure. Oh, I read 2 other books, but I didn't get all the way through them. I read The Beginning of Everything, I think, and then I read Scythe, but those were both on my phone and I didn't get all the way through them, so I don't really count those, if that makes sense. The only books here are books that I finished. Cool. And so I read those books, and then at the end of the year, my teacher was like, okay, just get a book that you can make it through the end of the year with. So I was like, okay, Throne of Fire, because I've, again, read the first 2 chapters of that and then just gave up like 3 times. And then come my sophomore year, and when I tell you I hated reading, anytime my mom was like, why don't you read? I was like, no. No, I'll do something else. I think one day I cleaned like the kitchen, like deep cleaned the kitchen, because mom was like, it's either you deep clean the kitchen or you read a book. I was like, deep clean the kitchen. So my hatred for reading was very evident in the first half of my sophomore year. I'm in the second half of my sophomore year, okay? Then at the end of the first semester, we were told to pick a fantasy book. And if you know me, I love the movie Ocean's 8 because it's a bunch of really cool women pulling off like this crazy heist, and I just love seeing all of that unfold, okay? And so when we got our assignment to read a fantasy book, there was Six of Crows was one of the options, and it was about this group of 6 people carrying out this impossible heist, and I was like, okay, if I have to read something, then I'm gonna read something like a movie that I really enjoy. Thus came my obsession with books. So we have Six of Crows, which is the reason that I'm a reader. Let me just read you this little back thing really quickly. Also, this is the front of the book. Wow, gorgeous. So it says, Ketterdam, a bustling hub of international trade where anything can be had for the right price, and no one knows that better than the criminal prodigy Kaz Brecker. Kaz is offered a chance at a deadly heist that could make him rich beyond his wildest dreams, but he can't pull it off alone. A convict with a thirst for revenge, a sharpshooter who can't walk away from a wager, a runaway with a privileged past, a spy known as the Wraith, a heartrender using her magic to survive the slums, and a thief with a gift for unlikely escapes. Yeah. I don't think did I get like a sliver? My finger hurts so bad. Anyways, I've never felt this kind of love for anything before. I don't even know. It's like, I figured this out not recently, but I figured this out while I like read books. I'm a character person. If the character development isn't like the main, not character development, but if like the plot is more important than the characters, that's not the kind of thing that I'm drawn to. But Leigh Bardugo does such a good job of having like the most insane plots and the craziest plot twists and just things that you just don't see coming, and then also having the coolest characters with the most in-depth and rich backstories, and she does not spare any like page, like not even a single word is out of place. Like every word that you read in this book is supposed to be there and has something tied to it in the future. I'm finding things in King of Scars that make things back here in these books that happened like a year before. And if that makes sense, and then these happened 3 years before these 2 books and like 2.5 years before these books. And like things are just like tying together, and Leigh Bardugo is my favorite author. I think, yeah, she does a really, really good job of making the plot very rich and making the characters just so well thought out. Everything they do, everything they say is just very in character for them, and when it's out of character for them, again, there's a reason for it, which is in character for them. Does that make any sense? I don't know if this is making any sense. The main character, his name is Kaz Brecker. He is a criminal beyond his years. All of these kids are teenagers. I think the youngest is 16 and the oldest is 19. So just a bunch of teenage criminal convicts. If you like Ocean's 8, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom are for you. This is my second favorite book of all time. Ooh. Okay. See, that was before I read King of Scars. So, and I don't know, I haven't thought about that enough to place them. So, excluding these two books, this is my second favorite book of all time. Now on to my favorite book of all time, Crooked Kingdom. This book is the sequel to Six of Crows. It's following the events immediately after. And there isn't really a summary for this one because, again, it spoils everything that happens in Six of Crows. So I can't really tell you guys too much about it, but if you thought that the first book was kind of crazy and the amount of plot twists in that were startling and never could have been thought of by anybody except for Leigh Bardugo, wait until you read this book. The way, there's a section in this where it's like the biggest plot twist I think I've ever, second biggest, because the plot twist at the end of this book literally made me cry. Anyways, so I was reading it, right? And it was like 11:30 at night, okay? And I look at it and I said, there is no, and I went into my mom's room and I like yelled about it for like 2 minutes straight. Anyways, so this book is so good. It's just, everything happens for a reason, and it's so crazy because like you think that like the tiniest things are like super inconsequential, like nothing's gonna happen, it's just like a random detail that Leigh Bardugo was like, oh, that'd be kind of cute to put in. No, it is vital to the story. So this is what it looks like. The pages are red, which is very cool, but the little thing on the back, it isn't a summary, but it's a quote from the book, and it's one of my favorites. It says, Jesper taps his fingers restlessly. Has anyone noticed that this whole city is looking for us, mad at us, or wants to kill us? So, Kaz said, well, usually it's just half the city. Which is very true, but also very, very funny. So these two, I read Six of Crows in January, like the whole month of January. Then I read, so then after I read Six of Crows, I was like, okay, while I'm waiting for Crooked Kingdom to get in, I'll read Serpent Shadow. And this is the last book, like I said, in the Red Pyramid book, and this is my first book that I had ever got that was like a brand new book, because at the time I had only had Six of Crows on my phone, and I didn't get the paper version until I got these three books, and then all of the rest of them are like hand-me-down books that like my family had read before me. So this is my very first book that I got like brand new just for me to read. Like it's very, very on the edge of your seat, like almost the entire book. I think I read this book in, okay, you'll slowly start to see me, how fast I read these books just keeps getting faster. I think I read this week and a half, 2 weeks, which was very, very fast for me back then. But now thinking about it, that's very slow. I read Six of Crows in, I think, like a month and a half. And then when I pulled out this and I read it in like 2 weeks, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm reading at lightning speed. I didn't know it was coming. Then after I finished Serpent Shadow, then I read Crooked Kingdom, which like I said is my favorite book of all time. It's so good. Moving on, going back in time, back 2.5 years before these two books, is the Shadow and Bone trilogy. And these are the first books in the Grishaverse, again by Leigh Bardugo, and these ones are about... Hi guys, so I'm editing right now, and I just watched the part where I described Shadow and Bone, and how I described it was terrible, so I'm going to read the actual thing, like the actual summary that Leigh Bardugo put on the back of the book. I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place. Anyways, here it is. It says, orphaned and expendable, Alina Starkov is a soldier who knows she may not survive her first trek across the Shadow Fold, a swath of unnatural darkness crawling with monsters. But when her regiment is attacked, Alina unleashes dormant magic not even she knew she possessed. Now Alina will enter the lavish world of royalty and intrigue as she trains with the Grisha, her country's magical military elite, and falls under the spell of their notorious leader, the Darkling. He believes Elena can summon a force capable of destroying the Shadow Fold and reuniting their war-ravaged country, but only if she can master her untamed gift. As the threat to the kingdom mounts and Elena unlocks the secrets of her past, she will make a dangerous discovery that could threaten all she loves and the future of a nation. Yay! Okay. I'm not going to read you the other summaries because that would just spoil so much, and I don't want to do that to you guys. So, yeah, that's the summary of Shadow and Bone, the first book, and back to the video. Yay! So yeah, I'm not going to say too much more, but there is a Netflix series coming out very, very soon. Anyways, so it's about the first book, I believe. I think it's only about the first book, not the second book, or the third book. So yeah, it's coming out so soon, and I'm so excited because they also incorporated the backstories of these two books into that series. So my favorite character of all of the books that I've ever read is Kaz Brecker, and so he's gonna be in the new TV show. I'm so excited. So if you want to know more about this book and about the new Netflix series coming out in general, I'll link my favorite interview down below. It's just from the IGN Fan Fest, and they just answer a bunch of questions, talk about filming and stuff, talk about incorporating the Six of Crows into this, talk about putting this book onto paper for them to like film it. Yeah, very, very cool, and I'll link that down below for you guys to watch. It's about like 34 minutes, and I've watched it way too many times. I think I've watched it 5 times. Anyways, so that's these 3 books. I'm going to show you them close up, but I'm not going to talk about these 2 because again, I'm going to spoil something, and there's too many plot twists happen for me to avoid it. So here are these books close up. They're so pretty. This is the first one. It has a stag, and then we go to Secret Storm, which is the second book. It's the longest out of the 3, I believe. So this is what it looks like. It has a kind of like a sea dragon, sea whip kind of thing. It looks like this. And then this is the inside cover. This is what the last one looks like. There's this like phoenix kind of thing on the front. This is the inside cover. Very, very pretty. Very, very big fan. Moving on. Then after I finished Ruin Rising, my sister has been bugging me since I started becoming a reader. So since the beginning of this year, we are now 4 months into the year. We are in April. And she was like, okay, read Hunger Games. I was like, fine, I'll read Hunger Games. So this book is kind of destroyed because again, like I said, my entire family has read it. But I love this book so much. So I was going into it a little iffy. I was like, I already know what happens. And like part of my favorite part about reading is not knowing what's about to happen. And I know what's gonna happen. And so I went into it, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to read a book that I already know what's gonna happen. But the amount of detail and the things that I just actually understand now that I never understood in the movie, just so many things are added. Also the story of how Katniss gets her like iconic pin of the Mockingjay is just so much in this book than it is in the movie. But yeah, so if you've already seen the movie and you want to learn more about the characters and their backstory and like just why they do what they do, this is the book. Read the book series, please. Okay, moving on. We have Catching Fire and Mockingjay. I haven't read these yet. And you're probably like, but you've read King of Scars, so why did you just leave the book series for another book series? There's a reason, I promise. So while I was reading Hunger Games, my mom was reading King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. And if you don't know my mom, she is a speed reader. Holy crap, she's a speed reader. Actually, I kind of am too, but oh yeah, I'm so proud of myself. I think I read Siege and Storm in 2 days. 2 days, that is all the time that I needed. Anyways, going back to what I was saying, my mom started reading King of Scars when I started reading, no, like halfway through me reading Hunger Games. But while I was reading Hunger Games, there was so much going on with dance in school, I barely had any time to read. And I think it took me like, it took me 2 full weeks when I was literally just talking about how that was fast for me. Like I said, my speed in reading has just evolved so much over the past like 4 months. Anyways, so I read this in like it might have been 3 weeks. Anyways, like pretty long time compared to my speed for the rest of the books recently. So in that time, my mom decided to start reading King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. And my mom's really, really bad at not spoiling things, if you don't know her. So she was like, okay, now that you're done with Hunger Games, you have to read King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. Like, you have to. And I was like, but I want to finish Hunger Games like I promised Chloe. She was like, I'm gonna spoil something one way or the other, and you can either know about it or you can just be caught by surprise. And I was like, okay. So I read King of Scars, and I started reading it on Monday, and I finished it today. So today's Friday. So I finished in 5 days, and now I'm about to read Rule of Wolves, which is a little bit longer. This one was 511 pages. I think this one's 550, something around that. And so I'm going to finish these two before I go back and finish these ones. Okay, so those are all of the books. I've been talking for very long. Anyways, so that is my reading journey. That is all of the books on my bookshelf. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to watch that interview if you're more interested in the Shadow and Bone series. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on post notifications, all that fun stuff. And most importantly, don't forget to treat people with kindness, because you never know what's going on in other people's lives, and we all need a little bit of grace sometimes. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!